Imagine walking through an empty theater. Gold statues of lions guard the entrance. Inside, rows of red velvet seats stretch into darkness. You're alone, or so you think. Suddenly, the room goes cold. You turn toward the stage, and there, in a pool of ghostly light, stands a man. Top hat, coat tails, staring out at empty seats. He raises one hand, reaching for something, and then he's gone. March 3rd, 1888, Frederick Federici walked onto this stage and never walked off. For 136 years, people have sworn they've seen him. But what actually happened was stranger than what you may have heard. I found the original newspapers, death records, and eyewitness accounts, and what's in them changes everything. The Princess Theatre in Melbourne, Australia, built in 1886 with French Second Empire architecture. It has majestic spires shaped like crowns, intricate gilded staircases, and gold drapes on the walls. When it opened, it was a technological marvel with Australia's first electric stage lighting and a sliding roof that opened to the sky. But within 16 months, it would become home to Australia's most famous ghost story. And here's what makes it different from every other haunted theatre tale. The ghost appeared on opening night, the very night Frederick Federici died, in front of hundreds of witnesses. Let me set the scene. It's Saturday night, March 3rd, 1888. Over 1,500 people packed the Princess Theatre for opening night of Charles Gounod's opera Faust, the story of a scholar who makes a deal with the devil, trading his soul for youth and love. Playing the devil, Mephistopheles, was Frederick Federici. Born Frederick Baker in Florence, Italy in 1851, he adopted the stage name Federici and became one of England's preeminent opera singers. He'd performed the first productions of Pirates of Penzance and the Mikado. He was a commanding presence with a powerful bass-baritone voice. For 2 years, he'd been the toast of Melbourne's theatre world, dazzling audiences with incredible performances. Playing opposite him as Marguerite was Nellie Stewart. At 29, already Australia's biggest theatrical star, beautiful, talented, beloved across the country. Opening night was a massive success. A contemporary review described it this way: "The theater was so packed that not a single seat was vacant, despite increased ticket prices. The production showcased cutting-edge stage management, beautiful scenery, and stunning costumes. The public would never again tolerate careless productions after witnessing this presentation of Faust." In the final act, Mephistopheles drags Faust down to hell. At the Princess Theatre, they achieved this with cutting-edge technology. A trapdoor opened beneath the stage, and both actors were lowered on an automated platform until they disappeared in smoke and light. The audience was shocked and delighted. They'd never seen electricity used in a theater like this before. But what happened next? Nobody in that audience could have imagined. As Federici descended through that trapdoor in his crimson Mephistopheles costume, something went terribly wrong. From the Argus Register newspaper, March 4th, 1888, a summary of their account. Federici appeared to be performing well in the final act, but just after going on, he became dazed and went through the act mechanically. As he descended with Faust after his final words, he fell forward upon reaching the lower floor and never spoke again. Federici was 38 years old. For years, he'd suffered from heart disease, and in the 1880s, the only treatment was nitroglycerin pills. Mildly effective, becoming less so over time. By 1888, they no longer worked for him. The orchestra conductor for the performance later recalled noticing something wrong, a tremor in Federici during that final scene. But through what the papers called a marvelous effort of self-will, Federici kept going until the last note. Beneath the stage, Federici collapsed. He was rushed to the theater's green room, where a doctor was summoned. For over an hour, the doctor tried desperately to revive him using only an early defibrillator, wires attached to a galvanic battery, shocking Federici's body again and again. It was hopeless. Frederick Federici was declared dead. But here's where the tragedy becomes a ghost story. After the final applause, the stage manager gathered the cast to deliver the terrible news. Federici had died long before the curtain fell. The cast stared in shock. Then a murmur started. How could Federici be dead? They'd just seen him on stage with them during the final call. Every member of the cast had seen him, still in his Mephistopheles costume, in his rightful place, bowing to the audience alongside the rest of them. The group dispersed, stunned into silence, wondering how could they have seen what they'd seen while Federici's body lay beneath a sheet in the green room. I went searching for newspaper articles about this event, and here's what the contemporary accounts actually say. The Argus newspaper reported that the stage crew immediately noticed something was wrong. The descent happened with unusual suddenness, and Federici didn't reappear for the curtain call. This is crucial. The legend says nobody knew until after, but the crew knew right away. Then there's this line. I'm paraphrasing. The cast members were horrified when informed of the sad event, as many of them had fancied that they'd been with him during the curtain call. Fancied, not swore or insisted. They thought they'd seen him. Think about what had just happened on stage. The final scene is chaotic. Smoke, flames, dramatic lightning. Federici descends and collapses. The crew knows something's wrong and rushes to help him, but upstairs the show must go on. The curtain falls, the audience applauds. The cast rushes out for their bow. It's dark, crowded, everyone's in costume, exhausted and riding on adrenaline. In that split second, some of them glance around and assume Federici is there. Why wouldn't he be? He just finished his scene. Only after they come off stage do they learn the truth. This isn't a supernatural appearance. It's a tragedy compounded by confusion and shock. The cast wasn't lying. They were processing trauma. Their colleague had just died. Their minds filled in the gaps. But what happened next? That's where the story gets even darker. The theater closed the following Monday night out of respect. But then, from the newspapers, on Tuesday and each subsequent evening, Faust was again performed, with Mr. Ernest St. Clair taking the part of Mephistopheles at only a few hours' notice. The management considered themselves fortunate to secure someone competent enough to learn such an important role with minimal preparation. St. Clair proved himself a capable actor and vocalist, receiving much applause and being called before the curtain. Think about that. Federici died on opening night, Saturday, March 3rd. The theater mourned on Monday. But by Tuesday, March 5th, the very day Federici was buried, Ernest St. Clair was on that stage in Federici's costume, singing Federici's songs, receiving Federici's applause. Frederick Federici was married to actress Lena Monmouth. They had 2 children who would now grow up without a father. He'd been traveling the world for a decade, something few people in the 1800s ever experienced. He was at the height of his career, poised to ascend to the next level. And then, in one night, it was all given to someone else. Is it any wonder stories began to circulate that performers started reporting strange occurrences? Night after night, St. Clair took Federici's stage. Night after night, he received the applause that should have been Federici's. And according to the stories that emerged, night after night, something lingered in that theater. Around 1900, just 10 years after Federici's death, the Princess Theater installed a new fire alarm system. The resident fireman had to punch a time clock every hour or the fire brigade would be dispatched. One night during a heat wave, no message came through. The brigade rushed to the theater expecting it to be in flames, but they found no fire and no firemen. They searched everywhere. Finally, they found him huddled in a dark corner, shaking with fear. He'd opened the theater's sliding roof to let heat out. When moonlight flooded the auditorium, he saw a figure standing center stage, a tall, well-built man in evening clothes with a long cloak and a top hat, arms raised, gazing out at non-existent seats, searching for an audience that wasn't there. Was it the ghost of Federici? The stories continued. In 1989, during a Les Miserables dress rehearsal, nearly the entire cast witnessed something extraordinary. During a lighting pause, a gray, shimmering light appeared in the empty audience seats. All stage lights were pointed at the cast. There was no conceivable source for the light. They watched as the light coalesced into a ball and floated toward the stage. When it reached the edge, it vanished. The artistic director later said, "Everyone who works there accepts him, so we figured we could too." In the 1990s, actor Rob Guest was performing Phantom of the Opera at the Princess. After the show, he received a letter from an audience member seated in the dress circle. That's the first balcony level of the theater. The elevated seats that wrap around above the main floor. She described seeing another man standing to Guest's left during a performance, dressed in full evening wear with a top hat. He was there for maybe a minute, then gone, like he was never there at all. In 1994, A West Side Story actor arrived early for call time. Alone in his dressing room, he felt a presence. The room grew cold, then his hat flew off the table and hit the wall. He ran from the theater and refused to ever be there alone again. To this day, the Princess Theater reserves a third-row seat in the dress circle on opening nights. It's left empty for Federici. Staff say it's a sign of good luck if he joins the audience that night. The theater's owner has refused offers from psychics and ghost hunters to cleanse the space. Federici is now considered an important part of the theater's historic fabric. So what really happened on March 3, 1888? Frederick Federici, a 38-year-old opera singer with a failing heart, performed the role of his career. The strain was too much. He died within minutes of descending through the trapdoor. The cast, traumatized and confused by the chaos of curtain call, mistakenly believed they'd seen him bow with them. The newspapers documented it. The legend grew. The stories that followed, the fireman, the gray light, the figure in the top hat, I can't tell you for certain what those people experienced. I wasn't there. But I can tell you this, the Princess Theater is 138 years old. It's atmospheric. It's the kind of place where history feels alive, where imagination and memory blur together. Frederick Federici was buried on March 5, 1888 at Melbourne General Cemetery. His grave is still there. Real, physical, final. But his story, it never ended. Perhaps that's the real ghost. Not a spirit haunting the building, but a memory so powerful it refuses to fade. An actor's worst nightmare is being replaced and forgotten. Frederick Federici was replaced within days, but forgotten? Never. Perhaps Federici's achieved in death what he desperately wanted in life, eternal fame, not as an actor, but as one of the most well-known theater ghosts in the world. That's the real story of Australia's most famous theater ghost. The truth is stranger, sadder, and more human than any legend could ever be. If this investigation into the Princess Theater's dark history fascinated you, please like or subscribe. It really helps. I need your help deciding where to investigate next. Drop a comment with the haunted historical location you want me to research. Anywhere in the world. The most requested place could become a future video. Thanks for watching.